Hello, welcome again to Nesbet English, the channel dedicated to training speaking comprehensively. Before I continue, don't forget to click subscribe and the notification bell too, so that you'll be connected and notified always. You can also click the channel icon to find more videos or more lessons that you missed or forgot to watch last time. Alright? Now, in this lesson, which is lesson 15, we are going to talk about asking questions made easy, speaking wise. Now let's begin. Do you remember your English teacher teaching you how to make up yes no questions or WH questions? That you have to begin with to be's or auxiliaries or auxiliary verbs or modals for yes no questions, or that you have to begin with WHs like what, when, why, etc. for WH questions, and how you can easily make it wrong still, how you can get it wrong easily still, like what we have here. Are you agree, which is supposed to be do you agree, for example, or are you study English, which is supposed to be are you studying English or do you study English, right? Or why you didn't come to the party, which is supposed to be why didn't you come to the party. So you ordered the words wrongly there, not you didn't, but didn't you. Or what you want, which is supposed to be what do you want. So you miss the do there, right? Now, remember, you remember all this? Yeah. You can see how complicated it is that way to make up questions. Now, I have good news for you. In reality, in speaking and for speaking purposes, we don't make questions in this too strict a way. All right? In speaking and for speaking purposes, we construct questions the easy way. All right? And why is that? Because it's not complicatedness, it's practicality that we adhere to, abide by in speaking and for speaking purposes. So let's take a look at what we have here, for example. Now, to make questions easily, you just begin with your affirmative, positive, or negative statements or sentences or utterances. All right. You begin with with that, and if you have to make it a question, then you say it with a rising intonation at the end of it. That's a question already, and you don't have to bother to have the thing of whether to have to use do or did, right? Depending on the tense, because it is going to be much more complicated to make a question that way, right? But this way, it's practical and it is adapted in speaking. Okay, we do it this way in speaking. So to make you agree a question, a yes no question, once again, you say it again with a rising intonation at the end of it, saying, you agree? All right, you agree? Now, what about the second one? You're studying English. If you have to make it a yes no question, you say that with a rising intonation. It will be something like, you're studying English, or you study English. See, with the rising intonation at the end of the sentence, it's a question, and it's very practical that way. Or you didn't come to the party. That's a statement. That's a negative statement. That's a negative sentence. How do you make a question out of it with a why? Make it a why question. All right. Well, you say the sentence again, and then ask the question why. As easy as that. So you repeat the statement and you ask the question why. And should you need to make it polite, you can add, would you tell me? And then the question word. So You didn't come to the party. Why? Or you didn't come to the party. Would you tell me why? All right. Now what about this one? You want a cake. How do you make this into a what question? Then you say, I know you want something. What? Would you tell me what? See? It's very practical that way. It's kind of nice also. It's conversational. And that's what we do. That's how they do it. That's how they make questions in reality, in conversation, in communication. Yeah? So it's not that complicated this way, with you having to think of um, whether to use once again do, did, does, are, right? Because you begin with your statement, your initial statement. Okay. You begin with your initial statement. Now let's take a look at some exercises I have here for you to do. All right. Now the first one, you get up early. How do you make it into a yes no question? Right. You get up early. You get up early. Right. How do you make this into a yes no question? Right. You came late again. You came late again. Right. Can you feel the rising intonation at the end of it? Sure. With the rising intonation at the end of the utterance. Now, what about this? You got to make it into a why question. Right. How do you make it into a question using why? Well, say it again and then say the question word. You're crying. Why? You're crying. Why? To make it polite, you're crying. Would you tell me why? See? What about this one? You were reading something when I came. You were reading something when I came. Turn it, change it into a what question. How do you make it? Yeah. You were reading something when I came. What? Would you tell me what? See? It's kinda playful, don't you think? Well, that's the way we do it in speaking. Yeah. And what about this? You've written articles. You've written articles. How do you make it a question using how many? Right. You've written articles. How many? To make it polite, you've written articles. Would you tell me how many? Okay. And perhaps one more or two more to go. You will go out of town. Turn it into a question using where. Right. You will go out of town. Where? Or politely, you will go out of town. Would you tell me where? See? And last one. You've been waiting. Yeah. Make it into a question using how long. Right. You say, you've been waiting. I know. How long? Or politely, I know you've been waiting. Would you tell me how long? See? Something like that. All right. So once again, the idea is that when you make up questions and it is in speaking, right? You can simply make the question using your original or initial statements, negative or positive statements or sentences or utterances, and say them again, ending them with a rising intonation. Ending them with a rising intonation. And if they are supposed to be WH questions, then say the statements again and then the question words after, right after, right after that. And if you have to make it polite, then you can add simply, would you tell me, before the question word. Yeah. All right. So you can practice this. You can practice this on your own now, from now on. All right. Whenever you have a chance to do so. I think that will be about it. Thank you for your attention. So don't forget how to make up questions the easy way. Yeah. The one we call making questions, asking questions made easy. speaking wise, in speaking, for speaking purposes. All right. So once again, I thank you for your attention. Hope you learned something. Don't forget to um, go to our website. All right. Until next time, when we meet again, talking about something else, I say goodbye and see you.